Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. My name is Rick White from 180 Biz. We are a coaching and training company for the independent auto repair and truck repair shop owners. Okay, so here's my just one thing. What do I want to talk to you about today? I want to talk to you about sales. Let's talk about this for a sec. I really want you to understand that this is a super, super important discussion. And it was funny because I had this conversation last week with another client, and we were talking about things. And he says, I just got to make more sales, and I got more sales. I got to make more sales. There's got to make more sales. And I finally said something to him that kind of rocked his world, and I hope it will yours. And it's there's a difference between making a sale and making a profit, right? Think about what constitutes a sale, right? A sale is activity, it's volume. And we have this misconception that if we have more volume, we have more success. So let me step back though and have you think about this for a sec. Is it really your sales that keep the doors open? I want you to think this through. It's not the sales that make a difference. It's the profit. I'm seeing so many shops pushing for sales, pushing for sales, pushing for sales. And at the end of the day, they're not making, they're not making the money that they could and should be making for the end of the month. Man, come on. Can we get an amen on a Monday morning? How much does it suck when you run out of money before you're out of month? This is a big deal. And it happens because when you're focused on sales, you don't know where your gross profit is, where your margins are. And what ends up happening is you're working really hard for less money, right? For less profit. So I want you to just understand that number one, sales does not equal profit. There are some jobs that you are doing, I promise you, you should not be doing. Do you hear me say that? You should not be doing some sales. There are some vehicles that you should not be working on. There are some systems that you should not be working on. I have a shop right now that's absolutely burying themselves in diagnostic work when they don't have a good diagnostic tech. So they're killing themselves getting cars fixed because we're focusing, right? Because what is a technician mindset? Technician mindset equals success, right? Success equals when I close the number of hoods on fixed cars as I opened on broken cars. So for a tech, if they really take a lot of pride in what they do, and trust me, I'm not beseeching this in any way, but when you have a tech that has a lot of pride in what they can do, you will have a tech that will go upside down on a car because figuring it out is more important than making a profit. Please, someone type that in the comments. Figuring it out is more important than making a profit. And that's super, super scary. This is why running a shop with a technician's mindset does not work. It can't work, right? You got to slow down and make more profit. That's what it's all about. You've got to be able to do that. So I want you to understand what has to happen in order for you to make a profit. There's three things that got to happen. Number one, you got to make sure that a customer values quality over price. Okay? Now, a lot of us are under the misconception that everybody's a price shopper, and that's not true. Only about 20 to 30% of your market is truly driven by price. The other people that you're working with, they're driven by value, but they're not going to sit there and figure out what that value is. You have to be able to clearly communicate the value that you bring to the table when they decide to work with you. That's the first thing. Second thing we've got to work on, okay? The second thing is you got to understand what a difficult customer costs, right? We were just talking the other day at our orientation meeting with one of our new members. They were a little bit slow and they took in a car they knew they shouldn't have done. And it just went sideways the entire way down. And they said at the end of the day, it would have been better just to hand the guy $50 and tell him to go somewhere else. You've got to be able to identify people who appreciate what you do. That's the first part of the trifecta. Okay. You got to slow down, stop working on cars, start making money. Absolutely right. So the first thing you got to do, number one, is find people that appreciate what you do. The second thing you've got to be able to do is you've got to stay in your wheelhouse. What does that mean? It means being able to know your shop's core competencies. Maybe it is diagnostic work. And if that's the case, we got to make sure we're pricing it, but we're going to do that different. I'll talk about that in a sec. But what I'm talking about is, what are your competencies? Are you very, very good on certain kinds of cars? Are you very, very good on certain kinds of systems? Like I have some shops that I work with that are transmission shops. That's all they do. And it works. I have others that are just diesel shops. And that's what they do. And it's awesome, right? As long as they're doing it better, right? Doing it properly. Then there's also some that are some vehicle European shops, or you want to know we're just a GM shop, whatever the case is, you got to know what your wheelhouse is, okay? Because that wheelhouse allows you to be quicker. It allows you to be more efficient. In effect, when you can be faster, it means better margins. Does that make sense? More gross profit. And let's face it, net profit comes from gross profit. So we got to understand. So you got to know when to refer work that's not in your wheelhouse. Stop thinking like a technician who says to themselves, who judges themselves by what they can fix, by being able to figure out everything. It doesn't work. Okay. It doesn't work. That's why there are so many shops in trouble today, because the shops are being run with a technician's mindset. Next. Third thing, so the first trifecta is they got to appreciate what we do. Second trifecta is it's got to be in my strengths. It's got to be something we're really, really good at. Third trifecta. The third trifecta is you got to make money, right? You got to be able to really work on jobs that are going to allow you to make money. Okay. If you're not making money on a job, don't do it. Man, I can remember probably about 20 years ago, I stopped by a shop. He was struggling. We sat down, we started talking. And you know what he said to me? He says, "Oh man," I said, "You're doing all services. You're losing $5 a service." He goes, "Yeah, but I'm doing a lot of them." That is not the right mindset. Walmart does not work here. Share this video. 3 things. Number 1, sales and profit are 2 different things, okay? Please share this video. Remember our Shop Owners Roundtable, okay? This Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. First thing, they got to appreciate you, right? They got to value what you do. Second thing, it's got to be in your wheelhouse. Third thing, it's got to be profitable, okay? So, got to ask yourself, is this something we should work on? Is this someone we should work with? Start asking yourself those questions more often, and you're going to find a lot of really valuable things. Everybody, God bless. There's the timer. I'm out. Have a great week. Go make some money this week, okay? And have fun doing it. I'll see y'all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.